Here we have a 2022 Ford Mustang Mach-E. This one comes in the GT Performance trim level in cyber orange metallic on performance gray ActiveX interior, and the powertrain consists of 2 electric motors, 1 on each axle, and we're getting 480 horsepower, 631 pound-feet of torque. Coming around the front end here, they're not on, but we do get LED headlamps on with LED daytime running lights. But absolutely love how they did the grille. Well, what would be the grille right there, and then the shutters are down there. And then with the GT Performance, we do get these sick looking 20-inch aluminum wheels. Then we have the Brembo brakes as well. But I just love this orange, absolutely stunning color. Power door lock controls, memory seat controls. We get one touch up and down windows on all 4 doors. And then we have our power mirror controls here. We get power folding mirrors. Blind spot monitors are in those, and we can lock the rear doors as well as windows with that button there, and you just open it pulling that. We get the B&O sound system, the Bang & Olufsen, and then cup holder here. Pretty decent sized pocket for this kind of vehicle. Headlamp controls are here, so we can adjust those as needed. And then that's going to be our power driver's seat with power lumbar support. Now I will say these seats are very interesting, but I'll test them out long term while we drive it. Alright, and then I have the seat in front of me adjust for someone of my size. Then sitting back here, not the best leg room. I have a Mach-E California Route 1, and just where these seats are so big and bulky, kind of takes up some of the leg room, but for the most part, I'm okay. And I could just do that, and I'm fine being 6'3". Having the seat in front of me adjust for someone of my size. And we have our rear AC vents here, and then a USB-C, USB-A input down there in the dark. Middle seat folds down, cup holders there. And then we have our premium dome lights here, grab bar, and then we can fold this down and then hang our clothes there. But let's go ahead and make our way to the back. There's the back end there, LED tail lights. Go ahead and pop this up. Now we do get, with the GT, power lift gate, which I like. Mine doesn't have that. A little storage on either side there. And then we can hide our charger, and then this has an inflator kit for the tires down there. But really just, I can't say enough about this cyber orange. Absolutely stunning color. And then we can fold our rear seats down. And then we just hit this button right here. And then that'll fold flat when the front seat's up far enough. And you just lock it back into place by pulling up. And then we also get a front passenger seat with power and power lumbar support, which is really nice. Then our glove compartment's here. And we do have a nice window sticker. So y'all can see how this one specs out. I forgot to mention this one does have a 91 kilowatt hour usable battery there. Options, standard features, sticker price. So this one is rated to get 260 miles on a charge from the EPA. And before I forget, love having that area right there to hide certain things. But yeah, I love this cyber orange. Absolutely great, great, great color. I love it so much. There's a charge port there. Especially in the sunlight. I mean, it's just shining. Let's go ahead and check out the front real quick before we hop inside. There's a charger here. And that one just has a 110. Let's go ahead and hop inside. And I'll be able to go through this part a lot more quickly than the outside, because this is pretty much like the inside of my Mach-E California Route 1. We have the ActiveX steering wheel here. Feels really, really nice, and I actually like it better than just having normal leather. Easy to grip onto. This is the 15.5-inch sync screen here. Navigation's up now. You can connect your wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. Then you also have, I believe, AM, FM, and XM radio. And then you can control that from up here, deciding on whichever one you want to do. Save your favorites just by holding a certain button and it'll change. And then you can go through channels. My favorite thing about this is when you're in XM, you can actually go back songs from when you first turn on the vehicle, which is really awesome. And volume knob is here. You can just cut it off there. Everything's touchscreen except the knob here. And then you can set your auto mode there for your AC, adjust temperature there. And then if you have a passenger, you can do that. And then you can go in here to sync and just hit that dual, and then you'll just have that single climate control there. And then there's your heat. And I really like in this, I don't have this in mind, but you get 3-stage heated seats for the driver, front passenger, and a heated steering wheel. There's fan speed there. And they've done an update recently to make this a lot less of a hassle when using your AC controls. So you can actually, when you hit the temperature knob, it goes over here, and then you can adjust your actual temp or fan speed here instead of having to use the screen. But over here we can test our efficiency, or take a look at our efficiency. So 40% climate use, 20% driving, just because I've been sitting in here for a long time kind of trying to find a good spot to film. And if you hit the car emblem there, you can go into your drive modes, and then you have whisper, engaged, and unbridled, and then you have your unbridled extend. So I think that's for like if you're on the track or something and you want to go for long periods of time, you can use that. And then your driver assistance features are here, and then all of your settings, connectivity, software updates, all of that is over there. But down here we have a USB-C, USB-A input, wireless charging pad on this side, cup holders there. Before I take a look at the shifter, there's your backup camera with 360 view. And sorry if there's a bad glare, it's just super bright out. And then we can do our navigate to parking, or toggle our parking sensors there. And then our shifter, reverse, neutral, drive, low gear. And when you don't have one pedal drive on, the low gear is just to max your regen, but one pedal drive will do better than that anyway. Electronic parking brake, pull up to engage, hit the brake, press down to disengage. And then I do like this, you have storage in here, 12 volt there, and then you have your GT embroidered in here in your armrest. And then nice glass roof here, sunglass holder, your dome lights, universal garage door transmitter. And then if you have BlueCruise, which this one does have, along with that active assist, just hit this, and then you can adjust the gap for that adaptive cruise. You can turn the lane centering on, or lane keeping system they call it. And then voice recognition controls, it serves as a mute button too, volume, and then you can go through your track list or radio station favorites here. And this is very important because this is what watches your face when you're using BlueCruise. So even if I'm driving like this, one thing I've noticed that gets to my nerves is if I'm using mine, it'll tell me watch the road, even though I am watching the road. I just have my arm like this. It's not that much of a nuisance when you don't have the lane keeping system on, but when you do, it's always on you. Blinkers there, high beams there, flash high beams there. And then over here, windshield wiper controls. And then you can go up in speed there. And then you can set your auto here by how often it kind of goes. And then that's your auto wipers there. And then on the side here is how you do your intermittent, or your rear wipers, excuse me. And then of course, pull back for rear wiper fluid, push up for front wiper fluid. I think I've pretty much hit everything. There's push button start. Finally, here is your key fob. But now to what I think is going to be my favorite part. Let's go ahead and take this 2022 Ford Mustang Mach-E GT Performance out on the road for a quick test drive. Of course, very quick car. And like the Mach-E that I have, just very, very easy to drive once you get used to it, in my opinion. Especially with the one pedal drive. I think it's one of the top regenerative braking systems out there right now, as opposed to having a bunch of levels and all of that. But, and I have the propulsion sound on now. Really like the sound. I had subs put in mine, so I had to take it out because it was too much interference. But I actually like driving with it on. Now I have the car in unbridled mode now because that's really the only way to drive this, especially a GT Performance. Now the unbridled in the California Route 1 is kind of just like how it should be. Engage is good, but I mean, if you're gonna be driving one of these, you can put it into whisper mode, especially if it's slick out or something like that. But I just love driving this thing with full power at all times. Even if I don't use it, it's just nice to have it right in my grasp, because to change modes in here is a lot more difficult than a lot of other vehicles where you can just hit a knob here or hit a button here or turn something here. I have to actually go in the screen and click here and then hope that it's up, and then I can do it that way. Which usually that's the only reason I use this anyway, so it usually is up. It's not a big deal, but I still have to go through all these extra steps instead of just knowing, hey, here's the knob right here. Now, while I'm sitting here in this very, very heavy traffic, one thing that I wish Ford would catch up with everyone else with is the charging infrastructure with the vehicles. I mean, now in a 240 plug, these are just as good as anything else, but fast charging, DC fast charging, I feel like we could do a lot better than 150 kilowatts when GM is doing 350, even the Hyundai Ioniq 5 EV6 Duo, they're doing like 250. Mercedes is doing something around there. So getting 150 kilowatt max charging speed is just kind of compared to everyone else. But I really think that the F-150 Lightning and the Mustang Mach-E are two of the better EVs if they just had better charging speeds. Like when I had to drive mine for long trips or whatever, I'm sitting at the charging station for 45 minutes to an hour, which is fine, but I'm having to do that every 200 miles, and especially if I'm by myself, I don't want to have to sit somewhere for almost an hour to charge when Hyundai's doing it in 20 minutes, Porsche's doing it in 20 minutes. So I just wish they'd fix that. But I will say, in terms of just the ride quality, even with the magnet damping or magnet ride damping, whatever they call it, the ride, especially in unbridled mode, is about the same as my California Route 1 Mach-E, just in how it feels driving. Still rather bouncy, not necessarily rough, but I can feel the road quite a bit. Whoo! That thing will catch some, oh man, that was crazy. Crazy acceleration, absolutely crazy acceleration. Loved that, absolutely loved it. It was just gone. And what makes this car so great is it's just so quick. And of course, with this being an EV, you really don't need to go much faster than 120, 130 anyway. But I mean, this thing is absolutely insane when it comes to acceleration, from about here to maybe 80 miles per hour, something like that, and then it starts to die down. But I mean, this is absolutely just a really fast vehicle. Now I'll test the BlueCruise out while we're sitting here in this nonsense, but so it's keeping that safe distance between myself and the vehicle in front of me, because I have it set at the closest setting that it can go in terms of just the gap between myself and the other car. But see, this is what I mean. Really annoying that this thing is telling me to watch the road and I'm sitting here looking at it. And then it'll tell you to resume control. It's just, the system itself is fantastic, but it's just really, really annoying. Like, I'm sitting here driving and it's saying, hey, watch the road. Yeah, I know. But I mean, other than that, the BlueCruise system is really top notch, just in terms of staying in the lines, being able to read most of the lines. and still being safe without Tesla before it started having you being watched and having to hit the steering wheel every so often. People were taking naps and all that. So this is a pretty decent system. I wish I had done this before rush hour because I really want to open this thing up. It just has so much to give. And that run that I hit uphill, it doesn't feel that fast, but it just thrashes you so much in the back of the seat you can't feel anything. But I mean, absolutely insane acceleration. Especially right off the line. And what's funny is the California Route 1 I have is the absolute opposite. I don't really get much off the line, but then as I start to increase in speed, I can start to feel it pulling more. And I really like the pedal feel. I feel like as I put my foot down, it matches with what, I guess, how much acceleration I'm getting. So when I come out of a corner, it doesn't feel touchy at all. And that's one of the perks of having something that's electronically controlled in terms of throttle output. So even with all this torque, the pedal does not feel touchy. But all in all, the seats on here, I told you I'd let you know how I feel about them. They're actually really nice, but what's weird is if I have to reach back to get something from the back seat, because I like to throw stuff in the back or whatever, I guess the shoulder restraint or whatever you want to call it is just in the way. So I have to actually like reach around as opposed to just turning. But I do like the seats better than the ones in the standard Mach-E's, I'll say that. But what's really cool about this car is you can literally go into whisper mode and you won't know what you have behind the wheel until you actually put this in an engage, unbridled, because then it just becomes an absolute monster of a vehicle. And I mean that, like, it's just wild. I could not, when I floored it at that light, I could not lean myself up. I literally couldn't. I was just getting that much thrown at me. So really impressed, just crazy acceleration, absolutely nuts. But as I come to the end of this test drive, just a really good car for the money, honestly, if you're wanting to save, as opposed to filling up a GT, you know, just a naturally aspirated gas engine Mustang, or really anything. It's going to be cheaper to do this, and you still have that same feeling of absolute enjoyment when you put your foot into this thing. So definitely recommend getting one. I really want one. It's between this, Taycan Turbo, EQS 580, and the Hummer EV. So I'm going to drive all of them and then figure out which one I want next. But this will bring me to the end of my review of the 2022 Ford Mustang Mach-E GT Performance Edition.